Hello, I just want to take you through some of the visuals I was planning to share at today's breakfast meeting and didn't get a chance. So I did talk about the three key areas we need to focus on as a school to make this whole school initiative the success we hope it is as we prepare for the green flag status that we're working towards. At the top here, we need to continue to develop the habits of the school, such as a reduction in the waste that we use, reduction in energy usage, and a general awareness of how we as members of the community, as consumers in general, can be very clear about more responsible environmental lifestyles. And the word habits, I do think is useful. It suggests a long-term commitment. It suggests that sometimes we need to make small steps to achieving collective big changes. And I think that we've already made a lot of progress with these issues over recent years, and it's about committing to those and also expanding those habits so that we become as much of an environmentally aware school as possible. We do need to be very serious about how our curriculum caters for awareness raising and understanding by our students. So as teaching staff in particular, we need to help our students to see the issues by mapping out where environmental education occurs throughout the school, right from the very youngest age groups all the way to our senior students. And that doesn't just mean normal lessons, so to speak. It can include extracurricular activities, it can include events that are scheduled in the school calendar, but the point being it is now an important focus to look at what we're doing and whether we can improve that. And lastly, I did mention how it's really important that our students can have some co-ownership of the awareness raising, of feedback on how our curriculum works, and also on some of the decision making that needs to take place to allow these changes to happen. And as we co-opt our students in this process, they will see that change isn't always easy. Sometimes change is difficult, sometimes some changes that they suggest may not be realistic, and this is all part of the education that comes with working towards this important goal. So we're hoping that this can be really expanded over the coming years as we head towards green flag status. So 3 key areas there. I didn't get a chance this morning really to talk about the meeting structures, so we're going to meet approximately once a month, and we'll invite people like your good selves who came today, and we may even have more people in the future. Certainly we may have, hopefully we'll have more student presence, such as some of our primary students attending. Today was a very presentation focused session. We're hoping that in the future it will be more interactive in the sense that different groups will be able to provide feedback, questions will be raised, and suggested actions will be shared. So we'll do that approximately once a month, 3 times in term 1. We may have an after school meeting at some stage if we need to extend our time together, but for the time being those will be breakfast meetings. We have a whole SCORE student core leadership, which is currently our senior students who have a lot of experience with facilitating change over the recent years, but we do desperately want to expand that to include primary students and also students across the board. And they can focus on things like habits and curriculum feedback, and obviously will be participating. But at this point in time, it makes sense to have a small number who are going to be realistic about the sorts of action plans the students can put in place, and then they can bring their fellow students on board once they're quite clear about their directions and once they've consulted with staff about the realities of parameters in place. We have many groups. One example is the Primary Green Tigers that applies to years 3 and 4, run by Sean O'Connor, and that currently works as an ECA, and at the time being it may focus more on the habits and the awareness raising of students, but equally could contribute to the participation aspects and even the curriculum. I know that Claire Mars is very keen for year 6 students to get involved through their student council, and quite possibly will be doing the same with year 5. Eventually what I think will happen is that these 2 groups may even evolve together to form at least a Key Stage 2 green team, but hopefully one with representation of Key Stage 1 as well. And certainly we want all our students to consider how they can support our students in Key Stage 1 through things like awareness raising. So we have a secondary environmental committee that has already been established, has quite a large membership, and they'll meet through ECAs, and it may be that they subdivide themselves into subcommittees. So one group might be tackling one aspect, another group might be tackling marketing, let's say, and then they'll report back to the student leadership, and certainly there'll be a lot of dialogue between primary and secondary. We have a primary staff-only group meeting currently, although there's no good reason why it might not involve students in the future, and that is a Tuesday meeting. 4 of our newest members of staff in primary are looking at how the curriculum maps out across primary school. And very soon to be established, we'll have a secondary group which will probably have a similar remit, be similar in nature. Both these groups are meeting on Tuesdays, currently not meeting on the same Tuesdays, but there's lots of potential in future terms for those groups to line up with one another and to share an overview of how environmental education maps out across the school. There are other people who might not fit into these current groups as they stand. We have a lot of student interest that might be through the community action groups that are in place. It might be through student council, it might be through eventually class membership or tutor group membership representation. So we have a lot of interest that we want to capture, and likewise there's many staff who are also interested, and they may not fit into any one of these particular groups as they stand, but we need to establish ways of communicating with these people and receiving feedback and involving them in the process. So a cloud at the moment, because not fully evolved at this stage, but that's something we need to work on, and also a cloud because I think a lot of communication with these groups will be through online means, and we certainly hope to have a website set up this half term. Just a quick overview, I've shared this by a link already, but we have many of these groups meeting regularly, so you can see a lot of the work that will be taking place and hopefully channeling back into the whole school eco committee. If you have at this stage any discussion items for a future breakfast meeting, any suggestions, feedback or questions, please do for the time being channel them through me, but I will update. We want to redirect, and I certainly will share these issues to the students as well, who are obviously copied in on this email. So as I say, a website at the end of this half term to share our discussions and our progress. We'll have chairs established for our next breakfast meeting, and I'll let you know who those are in due course, and the focus of the next meeting will be less presentation and more updates and sharing of progress as it stands. Thank you very much.